Good morning, folks. How's it going? Hope everyone's doing well. And recipe day today, and we're going to be doing ourselves some homemade falafel. So a little bit different. I want to play around with this one today, but you will get a recipe regardless of this. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the recipe for this will be down in the description box below, so you can get the full recipe right there for you. So basically, we're going to be making the homemade falafel. So we're pretty much, instead of doing the dried ones, we're going to go for canned. And you might be already thinking it's not going to work. I actually want to try it. Instead of blending it, yes, blending it won't work. But if you actually roughly chop them up and add it to the rest of the ingredients that we do blend up, then you probably will get some very better or good results at least. So we're going to fry these off. Once we made all those beautiful flavors in there, I'm going to crunch them up into nice little falafels, and then we're going to fry them off. We're also going to do some fries with it. I'm going to show you how to make some homemade pita breads as well. And in addition, we're going to have a little bit of garnishes as well. So some mint yogurt, a little bit of lettuce, tomato, cucumber, and I think that's it. Right, anyway, first thing we actually want to do is start the fries. So we're going to make those instead of the falafel and the pita bread, because you know, like, you want to let the pita bread proof, but the first thing we want to do is get those fries done. We want to blanch them. So we want to peel them, we want to cut them into fries, we want to blanch them, and you want to blanch these off once boiling about roughly 5 to 10 minutes. You want to soften them up, but you still want them holding their shape. You don't want them falling apart. And then we're going to lay them out onto a tray with kitchen roll, just to really dry them out. And then by the time we come to fry them, they're going to be nice and dry. As I said, 2 to 3 potatoes for the recipe. I'm just using one for today, just for myself, so I'm not going to ham on this, as they say. Also, you want a medium-sized pan or a large pan, whichever. Obviously, if you're using 2 or 3 potatoes, I do recommend using a large pan, because I'm only just using one. I'm going to use a medium-sized pan. So, slice this down into, excuse me, into nice little thick slices. All right, watch those fingers. So we're just cutting these down into a nice, what, 2 millimeter fries? About a centimeter, I guess. You know, you don't need to be so specific with it, as long as they're roughly the same size. And you can go thicker, you can go thinner. Choice is up to you. If you go thinner or thicker, bearing in mind, if you go thicker, it's going to take longer to cook. If you go thinner, it's going to take quicker to cook. So just bear that in mind. Right, so I'm going to put a little pinch of salt in there as well. So we just top that up with water. And then we're going to pop this onto the stove onto a high heat. Bring it up to the boil and then cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes. Right, so the fries are on. The next thing we want to do is just keep an eye on them. But while we're doing that, we can actually start on the pita bread. So we're going to get the pita bread together. 125 ml of milk, which we're going to bring up to 35 Celsius or 95 Fahrenheit. We're also going to add 1 teaspoon of dried active yeast to it. In addition, we're going to, in a separate bowl, we're going to weigh out 300 grams of bread flour. We're also going to have 100 grams of Greek yogurt and also a pinch of salt. And then we're going to combine the two together, knead it for about 5 minutes once it forms a dough. And then we're going to put it back in the bowl, cling it, a bit of touch of flour, and let it prove until it's doubled in size. We need to get the milk on first because we need to heat this up. If you're not used to heating this up, you can use a temperature probe if you want, but 35 Celsius or 95 Fahrenheit. And also 125 ml we want, right? Just heating this up. Keep an eye on it. It will not take long to heat up that milk. If you heat it up too much, then you gotta wait for it to cool down. So just keep an eye on that. So 300 grams. By the time I weighed that, that milk should be ready. So I wanted a pinch of salt, 100 grams of Greek yogurt, and did I need any oil? Was it a teaspoon of oil? I don't think it was. Was it a teaspoon of oil or not? I don't think it was. Maybe, possibly. Pinch of salt, 100 grams of yogurt. Okay. I'm going to add a teaspoon of oil to this as well. I need to make sure I write that in the recipe, but that's fine. Let's put the milky in here. Milky yeasty mix. And then what we're going to do is get our hands in there, start mixing that around. Might need a little touch more, like water or milk, but we should be fine, I think. Right, I need a little splash of milk or water. I'm going to go for a little bit of water. Just a little dosh. A dosh! Round about a tablespoon. So, give this a knead for about 5 minutes. So, that's almost there. As you can see, it's already looking nice and smooth. Just a little touch longer. So, there we go. Boop. Let's have a look at these fries. Yep, they're done. Already done. How long's left on the timer? I bet it was 20 seconds. 35 seconds. I'll tell you what, I swear I got a magic clock in my head. Right, we need to drain these off in a colander. Let me just get this into a into the bowl. And then just a dusting of light flour. What did I say I was going to do? The falafel, right? So let's get our blender out. Now for the chickpeas, you don't want to blend these up, right? So we've got about a pound and 3 ounces, which is 538 grams of chickpeas or garbanzo beans. Now you don't want to blend these up because they're already cooked. If you blend these up, it's going to turn into a paste and you're going to be pulling your hair out. Okay, so that's why a lot of recipes recommend you can't use them. But lo and behold, they haven't realized if you don't blend them, you can still use them. So I'm going to try this out today. So we're going to drain these off, open them up, drain them off, and once they drained out, we're going to chop them up and we're going to throw them into the mixture that we're going to make, which we are going to blend. So don't put these in the blender. We're going to chop these by hand, but the rest of the ingredients we are going to blend. So we're pretty much going to need half a white onion, a good sprig of parsley, 4 garlic cloves, obviously peeled. We want 2 teaspoons of cumin, 2 pinches of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground coriander, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a lemon juice, and also half a teaspoon of cracked black pepper, and also a tablespoon of oil as well on top of that. You can literally see I took these to the edge as some of them are broken apart a little bit, but that's fine. So these are going to cool down now. So yeah, I want to open these up, drain these off first. I know my colander is over by the sink. Right, half an onion, 4 to 6 cloves of garlic. So these are quite small. I'm going to go for about 5. So I just want to roughly chop up the parsley, and then we'll chuck that in the food processor. So top and tail our onion. Straight in half. We're going to peel it and just rough chop up because we're going to blend this down, obviously. So just roughly chop. It's going in. So this is technically a half an onion. This is a very, very small onion, so equivalent to half an onion. Right, I want half a lemon juice, then we're going to get the spices in there, and we're going to blend this up. So we're going to turn this on, we're going to blend it up. And we don't want to blend it to it's a really paste. You just want to blend it up until it's pretty much all kind of, majority of it is actually ground down. So I'm going to show you now. It's really hard to kind of describe of the texture you're going to need. Pretty much want it like that kind of texture, but where it's a point of like, hang on a sec. So where it's a point where it's like, almost turn into like mush. Does that make sense to you? What we're going to do is just pretty much just kind of just chop them down. What we're going to do, it doesn't feel too wet as well, which is great. So this is how far you want to take it. Might need a little touch of cornstarch or something just to help bind it a bit further, but other than that, it's a little bit crumbly. Let me add a bit of cornstarch to it. I know I don't really want to dry it out too much. There is a little bit of excess liquid in there as well. Right, so maybe it could do with a blend in a little touch more. I don't want to blend it too much to a point, but I might put it back in the blender, just a quick little blend. Let me try blending it up a little further. But be very careful. You don't want to blend it up too much, otherwise it will end into a paste, and I don't really want a paste. Stop. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay. There we go, chat. Perfect. So it's come out quite nice. I feel like it might fall apart possibly, but we'll see. I'll tell you what, we're going to shape them, pop them onto a tray, or pop them in the fridge. But you don't want to add any too much wetness. If you add too much wetness, it'll be too sloppy. So we want a good sprig of mint leaves. If you've got a few little cheeky stalks in there, that's fine, but preferably the leaves. So, don't want to go too wild with this. Right, 3 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. So 1.5 teaspoons. And then we just want 1 tablespoon of cider vinegar as well. And then just a little pinch of salt, have a little taste. I think that should be fine. I don't go too crazy on the cucumber. Slice the tomatoes down. Let's wash the lettuce, and then we'll put this onto a bowl or something, and then we're good to go. So we're going to do the Pita Breads next. So we're going to preheat the oven 180 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. And we're also going to grab our cast iron pan. If you don't have a cast iron pan, you can use just a flat tray. It'll still work, but it's better results with a cast iron pan. So we're going to get that out, preheat that in the oven as well. Sorry, rewind that. I want it at 200 Celsius, 400 Fahrenheit. Okay, we're going to get the oil on as well for the fries and obviously the falafel. So we're going to need about roughly 1,500 ml or 50 fluid ounces of peanut oil. If you don't have peanut oil, I guess you can use veggie, canola, whichever you prefer, that's fine. But make sure when you pour it into your large pan, it only comes up just under halfway. Any more, just stop. So if you fill it up too far, when you put fried items in there, it could overflow. You could have a fire. So make sure whenever you're putting the oil in the pan, it's just under halfway on your large pan, whatever pan size you're using. We're going to get the pita bread out next. Do that and do the fries on the falafel, and then we can pull it all together. I guess it's just about doubled in size. I mean, you can't really tell, but you can certainly tell it was a lot smaller than that. So that's good to go. So I'm going to cut this into 4. Okay. I would say, what, roughly about 15 centimeters or so, or 12 centimeters. Should be about fine. You can roll it a bit further if you want. I'm just going to roll it outwards. So a good sized pita bread. So just pretty much waiting for that pan to... I'm just going to give it about a minute, and then we're going to put these in. So one at a time. So we're going to cook these for roughly about 5 minutes each side. Before we put them in, though, I'm going to oil each side fries. Yeah, I'd say we're about ready. Let's get them in. Let's get these bad boys in. Yeah, looks a little bit more like a naan bread, but still very tasty. Still beautiful. So we'll still use it. Don't worry. Don't worry. So yeah, probably cut them down into 8 rather than 4. And then you can roll them out. The thinner you do them, the thinner they'll be. But yeah, extra thick pita today. Right, these fries are ready to go. Those fries are looking good. Looking good. Moment of truth. It's either going to fall apart or it's going to be absolutely amazing. One or the other. Let's have a look. Let's find out. Yeah, I'm so happy, chat. I can't wait to try this one. I'm probably going to burn my mouth because I'm so excited, but hey, it's okay. Sometimes in life we do silly things. Right. Did it, chat. So I'm a happy little chappy. Oh, and I get to share this recipe with you folks on my website, ! website. There we go. Right, so let's get some salad in there. Cucumber, tomato, lettuce is in there. And obviously those delightful, moist, crispy falafels as well. Oh god, the textures are great. Fantastic, chat. Oh, look at that. Look at that, chat. Doesn't get any better than that, right? So let's pop these on here. So there we go. There is our homemade falafel for today. And people always say it's impossible to do it with canned chickpeas. I've proven them wrong today. So we use the canned chickpeas. We drain them off. As for the spices and other flavors, we put into a blender, but not the chickpeas. We basically put half a white onion, peeled and then roughly chopped into the blender, a sprig of parsley roughly chopped, 6 cloves of garlic peeled and then grated straight in, 2 teaspoons of cumin, 2 pinches of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground coriander, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a lemon juice, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and about a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil. Blended that up until it was minced. We took it out. We chopped up the chickpeas once they dried, put that into the mix. We added 3 tablespoons of cornstarch or corn flour. And then we put it back into the blender and literally blitzed it for 2 or 3 seconds and until it was like 4-minute shape or holding together. We formed them into little falafel onto a tray lined with parchment paper. Put them in the fridge, cling film them. You don't want your fridge stinking of onion, so just be careful with that one. And then we obviously heated up the oil later on, 350 Fahrenheit, 180 Celsius, and fried them off with the fries. So as for the fries, peel the skin, cut them down into fries into a large pan, coated with water. I only used 1 today, but it's 2 on the recipe, so whatever amount of fries you're cooking for. Bring it up to the boil, cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes, still holding their shape. But you want them soft but not falling apart. Take them out, drain them off, lay them out onto kitchen roll onto a tray. Once they've dried out, then fry them in the hot oil, 350 Fahrenheit, 180 Celsius later on. As for the pita bread, we pretty much did 125 ml of milk, which we heated up to 35 Celsius, 95 Fahrenheit, 1 teaspoon of yeast gone in, mixed in until dissolved. And then in a separate bowl, 300 grams of bread flour, What's that in cups? I'll have to find out later, but it will be on my recipe later on. I'll note it in there. Also, we had a pinch of salt in there, and what else did I have in there? Oh yeah, sorry, 100 grams of Greek yogurt as well in there. Mix that up. Then we combine the two together. Once it formed a dough, knead it into a dough for about 5 minutes until nice and smooth, and then pretty much put it back into the mixing bowl. Bit of flour, cling film, wait until it doubles in size, or an hour or two. Once it's done, knock it back. Shape them into 6 to 8. I did 4 and it came out pretty thick, so I'd say 6 to 8 is more than enough. So just weigh them out and split it, and then roll them out into a nice oval shape of a pita. And then if you've got a cast iron pan, preheat it in your oven at 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. Once it's nice and hot, oil each side of the pita, straight into the cast iron pan, and pretty much cook in that for about roughly 4 minutes. 4 minutes each side should be plenty. And then take them out, let them cool. And then pretty much we did mint yogurt. So 3 tablespoons of Greek yogurt, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1.5 teaspoons of honey, good pinch of salt, and obviously not forgetting a sprig of mint leaves diced up and in the yogurt as well. Basically, whatever lettuce you want, whether it's iceberg, mixed lettuce. I use mixed lettuce today. Just picked, washed, and you can slice it if you want, or just let it drain off once it's done. Put it into your pita. Sliced tomatoes, half a cucumber sliced. And that's pretty much it.
Well, it's going to take a lot of tequila to blot this out.
That was a mouthful. That was a mouthful, chat. There is our beautiful falafel for today. So, yeah, wow. Turned out really good. Super happy with this. So, chat, let's have a little sneaky taste. Right. They are so moist. Oh my goodness me. These are great. It's so nice to finally have a falafel that you can enjoy that's moist and not dry. Almost like little fried chicken nuggets, but it's not chicken, it's vegetables. It's got that spice and that kick to it, the crunch. Almost like, a fried chicken, the crunchiness on the outside of it. That's the texture of the falafel. It's so good. And the flavor from it is fantastic. Have a great and wonderful weekend. I'll see you Monday. All the loves, and thank you for all the support today. I'll see you Monday. All the loves, chat. Bye for now, my friends.